Hello everyone and welcome back. We had some technical difficulties, but we fixed them, all of them now, and we are soon gonna start with the first match, first race, I should say, between Kalmahar and Jason for that third place in the Cuphead weekly races. The third place match has two really great runners. They both performed extremely well throughout like the weekly races, and even like in the semifinals, so, you know, they play against two other insane Cuphead players, and you know, you need a little bit of luck, you need a great execution, you know, you need to be on your best performance. Cuphead is a really punishing game, but you know, sometimes anything can happen, I guess. But nevertheless, they're gonna try to get that third place because, you know, it's fun racing Cuphead, not really because they're gonna win anything or whatever. Interestingly enough, for race 1 now, the way it works, usually the guy with the higher seed bans 4 categories of the 8 that we have in the category pool of the weekly races, and Jason, who, for example, who had the lower seed, bans 3. What was like really interesting, the first race, I expected to see something that maybe both like, I guess. But what ended up being is the one-gun lobber, which is not a category that I've seen many people enjoy playing. So I suppose during like the ban phase, what happened was both of them banned the categories that thought that their opponent will be like way better, and ended up being with a less interesting category for, you know, both. So it's going to be a really challenging one, I need to say. We are about to start soon, so let's get some hype for the runners, some good luck for our runners as we are about to begin. So they are ready to go. Interestingly enough, about a one-gun lobber, they're going to be using, well, as the category name suggests, only the lobber. And of course, the machine gun for the airplane level, since they can't really pick any other weapon, I guess. And the way to access lobber is kind of weird because you cannot really do a glitch in the tutorial to get that extra coin in the tutorial and then get the 3 coins for the Apple NPC. What you have to do is finish a running gun level on a pacifist level, on pacifist rank. And it's going to be a little bit difficult because pacifist itself is kind of like a difficult task itself, but in order to go like fast, you have to do it on Forest Follies, the first running gun, and it's arguably the hardest one to get a pacifist from the 2 running guns on aisle 1. So they're going to be heading there. They cannot use any other weapon other than lobber, so let's see how it goes, as this is one of the areas that both runners have like every runner, I guess, has some issues, I should say. 2 early hits there from Kaleva, and he immediately Usually you want to like be on that 3 HP when you approach that echo machine, because you want to have that safety. Now both runners on 2 HP. What probably is the safer way to do it is waiting that mushroom to actually throw the pyro attack, and that is like what Jason was doing. But because he missed, he didn't really want to wait that much. He tried to do the clip. That's why you see him retrying. Now Caliber is going to wait for the parabol attacks from the mushrooms, and he got both of them, but unfortunately he doesn't make a machine. This is the difficult part for pacifist level on Forest Follies. As you see, even experienced runners will have issues with it. If you don't get the clip, I think that you'll have a more difficult task actually getting pacifist on this level. Doing the echo machine skip is the way to go in my opinion, but even that skip is a little bit difficult, as Jason has some issues there actually attempting it. So let's see if he actually manages, if he can do it. He gets it, but again, 1 HP. So at the beginning of the run, we see that both players actually struggle on the first running on pacifist level. And this is exactly what happened in the races, in the weekly race that we had, by the way. This was exactly what happened to many runners. I believe that the only one who didn't have issues was Luigi, if I'm not mistaken. And in the Forest Follies, probably, yeah, I believe only Luigi didn't really have any issues with this. So let's see how it goes. Calavan now gets the parry, he passes through the machine, and now that will put him in quite a lead, as Jason is going to be struggling with that. So yeah, Calavan made it now, so he's the one that's going to be in the lead for sure. But do not really worry, because this category, as I said, is a category that many people didn't really enjoy that much in the weekly races. And even though we actually promote, we promoted, the and a death there from Jason. We want to promote the categories because a lot of people didn't really like them. They didn't really optimize them that much. So one gun lobber is actually really difficult. The lobber is a really difficult weapon to use simply because of the fire rate. It makes every single shot really valuable. The weapon itself is really strong, but in a lot of bosses you'll have trouble actually connecting some of your shots. The first bosses though, they have really big hitbox, so it's not really going to be that big of a problem for them. And another great thing, I guess, that the lobber has is its powerful attack, the EX attack. You'll see Calabar using it right here once the cards approach. So, it does a little bit of splash damage as well. It deals about 30 HP, so it's a really powerful gun. So Jason is still struggling with Forest Follies, and Calabar is going to the frog right now. He gets the RNG with the parabol attack, but it's going to be really risky. He gets another death right there. It's going to put him quite far behind right now from Calabar, but at the same time, you have to realize that some bosses later on are going to be really difficult. So, there's still hope for Jason to catch up with this race. As a Calabar right now on Ruby and Croaks. And I'll say something interesting for Ruby and Croaks. There's steel in every version, in every fight, in every weapon that you're going to be using. There's that sweet spot where you can hit both frogs. In that way you can get double the EX cards, and at one point you can actually do double damage, but it requires that you have passed that threshold of damage so that you can get to phase 2. I believe it is possible to skip phase 2 if you actually get good RNG and maximize your damage. I think it relies you using some EXs correct way so that you can destroy some flies and stuff, but it is, I believe it is possible, as Jason actually manages to get through Forest Follies. So we got a run now for Jason as Calavera is about to be done with Ruby and Croaks. 2 bosses ahead, I guess, a boss and a shop, I guess, ahead from Jason. 2 bosses and a shop, I should mention, from Jason, but, you know, it's Cuphead. It's a difficult category as well, so, you know, we'll see how this goes. As Calavera right now is going to be for probably the hardest boss in aisle 1 to maximize, like to optimize, I would say, because hitting the lowbirds in the beginning might be way too difficult, I would say. I mean, now that I think about it, maybe Cagney might be the most difficult, but the Cagney plan is kind of straightforward, I guess. It's like 50-50, I guess, between Ruby and Cagney. Maybe Ruby as well if you like try to use more advanced strats. But you know, the first phase can be a little bit tricky, I guess. If you're not careful, you're gonna miss a lot of shots on Ruby. Not a difficult fight, nevertheless, but you know, a really slow fight if you don't know what you're doing. As Caliber, by the way, wonderful Goopy fight, and Jason had a really good root pack fight as well. So yeah, the good things about Lobber is the damage that its projectile has. It is far like the biggest. I apologize for that. It was like the biggest. It has the biggest amount like of damage as like a single projectile, and I'm not counting the charge shot. I'm just like it's just single projectile. It has the highest damage, and also it has, I believe, the second best EX, probably third if I'm not mistaken. Like if you count like Roundabout being second strongest, but you know you have to fully utilize it. I guess you can say that Lober is like the second easy EX users, I suppose, with 30 damage if I'm not mistaken. Hildebert for Kalamahera, the fight that pretty much is the same for every category in the current patch. So the players know how to play that fight, so they're not really going to be chasing the strats. Yeah, it has like a lot of roll, I guess, damage from all the X's. Good thing as well is the splash damage, I guess. I didn't really mention the splash damage that the Lober EX does. Similar, I guess, to charge, I suppose. Yeah, the radius can kill minions. It's like that splash damage that it does. It's like super good. Yeah, both players are done with their boss that they were fighting. As you can see, really great time there for Hildeberg, and Jason won about 3 seconds on the Ruby Croaks over Kalawahera. So he's catching up, I guess, a little bit, but you know, he did a lot of catching up. Later on, there are going to be more difficult bosses as they are a little bit more unique, and we might as well see something really interesting from Jason on Isle too, so stay tuned for that. As Calabar right now is going to fight Cagney, probably the hardest boss from Isle 1. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it might be the hardest one. He gets kind of bad energy there, unfortunately, but he'll be fine. Yeah, the hardest part is, for example, when he gets that attack pattern that he got right now, is to make sure he damages Cagney and at the same time make sure that his shots connect. A way to do it, of course, is utilizing that airtime throw that EX. You saw he does some seed attacks by doing that, and that root attack by doing that. Little bit of optimizations, I guess, what we learned throughout all the categories in Cagney fight. I would actually say that it's pretty much the same for every weapon, except I guess for charge and spread, because kind of the generation of the card depends on the damage per second, and each lobber shot actually generates a big amount, a big chunk of an EX card. But the thing is, the fire rate is so slow that you actually think that the generation is like the card generation is as slow. It looks slow, but it actually isn't that slow. You just have to make sure that you connect every single shot. That is like the biggest problem. As for example, in Roundabout, it has like a higher fire rate, but the damage is not as big as Lomber. So for one gun category, simply because they're not gonna pick great, the faster way to do IL2 is by doing Beppy first, Jimmy, and then Baroness von Bonbon. It is like a small time save over the other route that includes, doing Baroness von Bonbon. Those little bit of optimizations, I guess, are, quite important because they are for free. They rely on, map movement, I guess. So, it's not really that hard to do so. As Kalaba gets good RNG there on the horses. If you get the yellow horse, I believe you cannot one-cycle it. There are a lot of things that we have not experimented in this category, like, specific smaller cycles or, faster phases, stuff like that. As the Jason now is done with Hildeberg, and Kalaba is on a really great fight so far on Beppy the Clown. He's not really gonna have a problem. Yep, he's done. A relatively slow fight there from Jason on Hildeberg, not at the time that you want to see. And Kalaba on the other side got a really great time, Beppy. Another thing that I didn't really mention here is the fact that Lober provides one of the interesting traps that you can set. You've seen both Kalaba and Jason in some bosses actually spamming a couple of shots up, and they jump. So the way they do that, the reason they do that is because those Lobos will actually bounce on the screen. So when the boss or a specific phase, I guess, of the boss will appear on that spot, then they will receive all the damage from the Lobers that you've stacked on the screen. So it's a really interesting trap that we pretty much fully utilize on the legacy runs, simply because the Lober is the weapon that we use for legacy. Knockout there from Jason, and Kalaba on Jimmy. I believe he used the X's on the pillars. I actually didn't really pay attention, watching dodge some of the attacks on Kagni. This is, some people think that this is like the faster way to do Jimmy is by actually using those EXs on the pillars, simply because the EXs deal more damage than actually hitting with 4 hits on the pillars. Yeah, even though Kalaba is ahead, he doesn't know if he is ahead, because at the same time, both runners actually had a lot of difficulties in Forest Follies. It took them a really long time. And at this point, during a race, you expect your opponent to be ahead. By the way, we are on Beppy the Clown for Jason, and keep your eyes on Jason right now, because he might do something that you don't see that often. So pay attention on Jason's screen, as we might see something extremely crazy for a current patch thing. So he practiced a little bit in this fight, and he might get it. Oh, I think he was 1 or 2 shots away. Let me count. So 1, 2. So he was about 3 to 4 shots away from doing the Beppy glitch there. He got bar RNG. Usually what he wants to do, he wants on the 3rd cycle to stack a couple of Lobbers on the left side of the screen. So when Beppy actually hits those Lobbers, he will already be on the 4th dash. So that would be a little bit of over damage to the next phase. And then we want the 4th cycle to be longer, And by doing enough EXs and enough lobber shot, you can do the baby glitch in the current patch with only the lobber. But unfortunately for him, he didn't. Now on the other side of the screen, Kaleva didn't really have an issue. Baroness, I believe he's really close to actually killing Baroness, but he doesn't really realize that, the damage that he has done with the weapon. That is like something that comes with inexperience at this point, with the gun solo, I guess, because neither of those guys have actually had experience with this category, other than the weekly race, if I'm not mistaken, that we have. By the way, the attempt for the glitch for Jason actually cost him about 8 seconds though. It is like, if you get the glitch, you save a lot of time, but it's definitely gonna be really long. If you fail, you're gonna lose a lot of time. So Wally Warbles for Kaleva, and Wally Warbles is, I believe, the same fight as in the fight. The only difference is the fact that you don't have the bomb, so you cannot really sneak a couple of hits. And with the new technique that we found, you cannot do a specific glitch where it allows you to actually shoot an EX and still hit with a machine gun, because the other glitch actually requires you to have 2 weapons for the airplane, which in the one gunner categories you are not allowed. So pause buffer there to trigger the last phase immediately, and Kaleva gets some good RNG. The RNG, I guess, in this fight is good for like safety reasons, I would say. As far as like if you are willing to, go fast, I don't necessarily believe that it matters if Wally goes left or right, but depending on your HP situation, you might say that it's the HP matters, as Jason gets a death on Jimmy fight in the last phase of Jimmy as well. The airplane fights in general for the current patch are not that difficult, but if for some reason you happen to have a death, you will have a really bad time because you're gonna be far behind. Airplane fights in the current patch are really, really long. Even I guess in Legacy, I guess they are longer because the weapon swap is not as great as it is like with the non-airplane levels in Legacy. It is still pretty great, don't get me wrong, but it's not as great. So the airplane levels are really long for the current patch. So if you happen to have a death, you're gonna be having a really bad day because you're gonna lose a lot of time. It will be more specific for Jimmy example. The fight usually takes about 1 minute and 27 seconds. That's like the best time you can get with only the pea shooter. But if you die like in the last phase, you probably lost like over. Now Kaleva is about to end with the dragon phase, the dragon fight, I should say. Really good thing about the Lobber gun is the fact that the dragon is a really easy boss with Lobber. You don't necessarily have like any issues with hitting the last phase and dodging those flames. Even though Kaleva got some 2 silly hits, he still managed like to do a lot of damage to the boss. So it wasn't really that bad. He got a really decent time as well. Almost commentary curse, yeah. I didn't really curse him that much, I guess. The good thing about the Lobber is that it has like a specific arc, I guess. So you can stay on the cloud and position yourself kind of safe in the higher clouds and still hit the dragon, which is super great. And in the last phase, if you stand like on one of the top clouds, you can actually throw some Lobbers and not hit the fire attacks, but still hit Grim, which is insane. Now, Jason is on Barnes von Bonbon and he's having a time. because he's on 1 HP and he still hasn't reached the final phase of Baroness von Bonbon, and he dies right there as he wanted to use an EX point blank there on the Candy Core. Really unfortunate there for Jason. Now, Calabar used an EX, lower EX down there. I don't know if that lower EX actually hits. We recently found out that it didn't hit, that with Fisher EX you can still hit the B down there. So I believe you can hit with lower EXs as well? Question mark? I'm not sure about that actually. So Jason is doing that trap that we mentioned that you can do with Lober. It's a really great thing that you can do that with that Lober. It works extremely well for Baroness von Bonbon, and right now he's having a really clean fight. See? As Calabar gets both of them get pretty much at the same time, but on different bosses. Calabar right here right now with 107 on the B fight. I believe it's a good one, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not really that experienced. I'm not even sure if those supers actually connected. To be fair, I think that they didn't. So we'll see. As Jason now is going to be more Wally War. Yeah, it's still quite early, I have to say. There are some really difficult bosses coming up, so you never know what's going to happen. Right now, Calabar is about 3 bosses, so I would say around 3 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. So really great strats there in the Dr. Carl robot fight to skip that second phase. You stack a couple of Fisher bonus there and bomb EX, and you completely skip that second phase. The quick phase 2, I guess I should say. The really difficult thing about the Fisher fight, only Fisher fight on Dr. Carl robot, is actually finding a way to do damage to Dr. Carl. And a really great thing that you can do is actually use that nuke, getting really close to him and just use the Fisher and then damage boost through the whole fight at the end. He gets the knockout. Nicely done. I believe both of them actually had some really good fights. 101 there for Calabar, which is really good, and 103 for Jason on Wally Warbles, which is a really great one as well. So, Dragon Fighter for Jason. Dragon Fighter, I think, really known fight for him, I suppose. Usually in his all bosses categories, he's using Lober just for the dragon, but he's using it charge, and the only way, of course, he uses Lober is for the EX with that charge, shot, and Lober combo, which is really beautiful to watch in the Grim fight. But I would say that it works relatively the same, I guess, with just Lober. The only thing is that you might have in the first phase. In the first phase, you have to have a really aggressive positioning so that you make sure that your Lobers will connect. And at the same time, Calabar is fighting Sally Stageplay, and Sally is a really tricky boss. I usually say in cast that Sally is a really easy boss, but a lot of the times, it can cause you a little bit of trouble if you lose your focus. And because a lot of the runners try to do some risky stuff, they fail to execute specific stuff. As for example, something that I don't necessarily like that much is the fact that Calabar actually held his EXs there in the end. I believe that if he used his EXs earlier, a slightly better fight, but he still got the knockout, which is really important, as Jason gets the knockout as well, with 1 HP left. And a 109 fight, slightly slower than, but still a really good fight nevertheless. He's gonna go to IL3 himself, so That is good news for him, as Caliber right now is fighting a Venom Vermin, and with the Venom Vermin is really easy actually. Because an Ober actually bounces all the way to the tank, and because the tank bounces back and forth, you don't necessarily have to do a lot of movement, I guess. Cool thing here to does a charge attack is jump, and as soon as he comes like below you, you use an EX to gain that extra airtime and charge attack, and at the same time deal damage without having to parry on the springs. That is actually a minor time save, but it is time save nevertheless. Now he gets a little bit of bar RNG on spin wheels, and he's left with 1 HP. Using all of his EXs when the cat actually hits the mouse, because there are 2 hitboxes there, and if you use a lower EX, you actually deal double damage to the box. So that's a really nice optimization, as when the cat attacks, you can see he did a really nice sidestep and use an EX to gain that airtime and still like dodge the attack and at the same time keep damaging the boss. Really nice fight there from Caliber. Yeah, as Luigi mentions in chat, Caliber is an amazing run. That all fights have actually been extremely good. The only, of course, bad thing was the Forest Follies, which, as we said, is kind of a difficult task. Jason, in the meantime, got a really great D fight as well. He got the kill without even the transformation. Now, a difficult fight for the current patch for pretty much every single category in the current patch, except from like charge, or the categories that you charge. Using like one weapon other than charge is going to be a little bit difficult to fully optimize the damage on the boss. So what you saw Caliber did here is actually parry those things that squid beyond actual throw, because those EXs are really strong, and it will give you that little bit of airtime to throw a little bit of normal shots as well up there. So really great. It's extremely good to parry those attacks. As he gets, I believe it's a 5th cycle, and that you can see, like, if RNG is not really on your way, your side, that fight can actually be really, really slow. I believe he can get the 1 cycle, yeah, and he gets them. Nicely done. I guess RNG was not that bad. It was not the greatest either. Like, Captain Brinybeard in general is a really weird fight in the current patch. So I wasn't really 100% sure if it's like good RNG, because it was like of good and bad RNG in that fight. As Jason now on the Dr. Car robot, and I believe he's having a good fight as well. He's going to do the damage boost for the final shots right here. The players are really experienced, so they know when the boss is about to die. 106, yeah, it's a respectable time, I guess, for only P shooter. I've seen actually Jason getting a 58, if I'm not mistaken, with just P shooter, which is ridiculous. Calamaria, another airplane fight, and the same thing that happens in every single airplane fight in the current patch. You just shoot the boss and you dodge bullets. That's all you do. In most of the fights, I guess you want to have specific parries, I guess, for specific timings. An easy thing that you can do is what Caliber is going to do right now. In order to dodge the petrifying gaze in the second phase, he's going to use the nuke to gain those high frames and actually not having to, deal with this. Yeah, usually in the current patch, even if you say the difference between Legacy, Calamaria fight, he's gonna do the damage boost because he knows that Calamaria is about to die, so no reason to dodge that too. He gets a 1 on 10, which is a fairly decent time. He got decent RNG as well, so I guess maybe he could have done some stuff like slightly better. As is Jason now on Sunny Stage Play, and I believe he's having a really good time so far. Really good fight, I should say. Let's see how this goes. He gets a knockout as well. Interesting to see what the final time will be, as Caliber got a 108 there. 115, a little bit unoptimized fight there. A bit unlucky as well, like I didn't really pay attention like the second phase of Sunny Stage Play. But he did have a really good first phase. Third phase was a bit unlucky because of the big wave. I guess he wanted to dodge that just to play safe, so he didn't really want to get hit by it. So he went with the meteor. Last boss fight in IO3 for Kaleva and the Phantom Express. I believe with Lober it is possible to get a 2-cycle in the skeleton phase, but it's kind of difficult. It really depends on how much damage you do in the first cycle. So because the amount of damage that you do in the first cycle actually changes how longer the third cycle is going to be, the second cycle. Right now he's on 1 HP, in a really bad spot. He's going to use some EXs there to actually skip the twin phase like as fast as possible. As right now he's going to the last phase for 1 HP, and Jason is having a really great run. Let's see how he handles this last phase, as those frames are RNG dependent, but you know, at the same time, oh, he does those frames on that bone really well actually there. A little bit unlucky there on the Phantom Express, I need to say. Yeah, he's gonna get a 3-cycle just because he wants to play safe. Ooh, dodging that bone attack, like, that was extremely close for Kaleva. Not the greatest fight there, but it was definitely something. Felt good at least that he got the knockout. So he's gonna move to Inkwell Hell first. His pace is actually extremely good, I would say. You know, despite the fact that he has those unfortunate deaths on the first running on level, the Forest Follies, the rest of the fights have been extremely good. Deathless boss fights so far for Kaleva, as Jason right now on the Captain Briny Beard, and you can see that there is like a little bit of a problem actually connecting all of those low buttons. So you will kind of rely on actually hitting with the EXs to deal damage though. Yeah, it's a difficult game. Tyler, dude. So right now with the squid RNG, he's gonna get the squid gun as well. Caliber right now is doing the cigar boss on King Dice. Usually you see the chips in pretty much every category, but the cigar is probably better for Lober simply because it's super difficult to hit the poker chip, as Caliber right now is on 1 HP on that cigar, and that is kind of difficult for him because I didn't really pay attention to the board, but I don't know if he will get any hard RNG. Both of them finished with 1 HP their respective fights, but Caliber is not done. And from what I see, he got one more hard on number 4. So will he go to number 7? That is going to be a tough call there for Caliber, simply because number 7, the roulette, is not an easy. So he's going to have to come up with something real quick. As Jason now moves on to Calamaria. And the domino fight is actually not that hard, especially if you want to like play it extremely safe, as you see Caliber do right here. You know, he doesn't really want to get hit by those spikes, so he's trying to make sure all of his shots connect, and whenever he has those EX, will use them. Slightly slower fight, but you know, making sure that he keeps that 1 HP. So let's see what his decision is going to be, as Jason is not going to wait for the nuke. Even though I believe he's going to get one more. Yeah, okay, he might get one more. He gets the red friction as well. so he will have a chance to actually parry as many shots as possible. And he does get 3 parries, which will give him another for the second place, which is great. And the Caleb actually chooses the number 8 fight, which is probably the better choice, simply because it's a really easy fight and it's a fight as well. But, you know, you don't want to get hit. Yeah, safer fight. He gets the knockout really nicely, dodging that brown choke. Brown choke is the only one kind of give you a bit trouble, because if you stay underneath the boss, all the other chokes will not really land on top of you, or in the brown one. And he actually did a really good job staying on like the sides of that and still connecting with the lowbers, as he's about to face King Dice now. And really nice quick dice there, and he has to parry a lot of the cards now, making sure that he doesn't really fall and take damage. He's playing it rather safe, and I think it's really easy, really reasonable for him to do so. Nice EX there to gain that airtime. He gets here hit there in the end because he's about to get the knock. Nice thing there for Kaleva, as he's about to go fight the devil himself. As is Jason right now on the last boss of File 3. He's having a little bit. Oh my god, he actually managed to clutch that. Wow, that was actually pretty insane. Wow, that dodge there from Jason, ridiculous. Wow. Yeah, that was like a really clutch parry, as he's on 1 HP. Wow. It's gonna be like really close for him. Let's see how this goes for him. As the Calavera now on the devil. 1 HP moving on to the twin phase is a really risky thing. So last boss fight there for Kaleva, he gets those. A really difficult attack against the dodge. The worst thing, of course, is that you won't really have time to do damage to him. Both of them actually restart. Jason had a death on that twin phase, and Kaleva got hit twice, so he opted to actually retry the fight. I think it makes sense for Kaleva, and for Jason, that is a huge time loss. So Spider Attack is a relatively bad pattern for many categories. For Lobber, it's not that bad. It is kind of, but you know, if you do the trap, you will make sure that the Spider Attack will receive some damage at least. Lobber, I guess, and Charge Shot might be the better guns for the Spider Attack pattern, I suppose. 1 HP again for Jason, as Caliber right now moves on to the Hell right now, fighting the devil down the second phase of the devil. Not a really difficult one. When those two eyes connect, those EXs will do double damage. So he makes sure that he's using that when those eyes connect. And right now he keeps those EXs to get a really fast third phase, simply because the third phase of the devil is relatively difficult. There are so many things going on the screen, and with that, Crying Devil, 4th phase, last phase, 2 HP as well, or 1 HP right now. He's gonna get the knockout. Oh my god, that was close. He gets the knockout and he gets the GG right there. As Jason still has some troubles on Phantom Express. Alright guys, so from what I understand, Jason, just to move this process, because delay races, we're gonna move on to the next race immediately. Jason is he had a really good run, and nevertheless he almost finished out of 3. They're gonna move on to race 2, and they're gonna be doing, guess what, all flags in the current patch. So we're gonna take a small break to let the runners actually prepare for it. I'm gonna drink some water. I was talking for all that time, so be right back.
And now they're fighting for their lives on a mission fraught with dread. proceed but don't succeed. Well, the devil will take their heads.
All right, hello everyone. We are slowly preparing for the second race, third place match between Calabar and Jason. The loser of the first race picks the category for the second race. So as Calabar got the victory, Jason picks the category, and as you can see on the screens, it's going to be all flags in the current patch. Now, the all flags in the current patch, in my opinion, is one interesting categories to watch. As a player, it is extremely difficult because at one point of the run, mostly on the second half of the run, I guess, the whole execution of the boss fights becomes way intense because they're going to be using a charm, which many of you probably are aware as, you know, the axe, I guess, or the whetstone. It is a really difficult charm to use. So because you have to play extremely aggressively, you have to pretty much like parry the boss, you know, to do that. Now, the great thing about the all flags category is the fact that you're going to pick up charge shot, and charge shot works extremely well with whetstone because during like that downtime that charge the charge shot, you can do parry attacks on the boss and do that little bit of extra damage. So at that second point of half, I highly suggest like you pay really attention to what you're going to be doing, as it's going to be really high level of mechanics. Both runners are slowly preparing for the race. I believe that they are ready. The thing that you're going to see is the difference between like the old bosses, the fact that they're going to be using charge. This is like the first big difference in you know, from the beginning of the run. Usually you don't see any running gun level. Even like in the old bosses one, you don't forest volleys because you only need 4 coins to buy spread, because spread is going to be fully utilized in that category. But in the old flags, because you have to clear those running guns, you might as well pick up the coins, and you know, since you have the coins, you might as well buy the really expensive weapon, I guess, because you have to buy all the you have to buy 2 other weapons for it, and you know, use charge. So we'll see them use charge for that. And I believe they are ready. Yeah, the race is on its right now. Good luck. Jason is the current world record holder for this category, and is by far one of his favorite categories. It's one of the categories that he feels, you know, comfortable with, and he's one of the guys who actually innovated in the current patch. He was the first to actually notice that the whetstone is the way to go in the current patch, and in every single individual level in the current patch, you are mostly going to see that beautiful charm being used, simply because it's like really good. Now they are on the forest follies. They're going to those 5 quick coins right here. The difference now between this one and the previous category is the fact that they can shoot their gun. So right now they are taking their revenge, since both of them had so many difficulties in the previous race in this level. So they are killing everything. They don't really care about pacifist or no pacifist. You'll see that both of them, actually Jason got the kill of the echo machine skip, whereas Caliber actually tried to kill the machine. They did finish at the same time because Jason took a little bit longer to set up for that clip, and they get exactly the same time, which is pretty insane. And they are really synced as well. They get the same score as well. We are not watching the same run, by the way. That's different. That was like really synced. That was really cool as well. Now, And moving on to the second running on level of IO1 and Treetop Trouble, and it's a really difficult one as well. Really difficult to execute fast, that is. Now, Jason gets a really early hit, and he has to fade for that Woodpecker, unfortunately. Um, you see that Caliber had to wait for the other Woodpeckers, but both of them, no, he actually dodged the last one where Jason had to wait. There are all of these attacks are like cycle based, I guess. So Treetop Trouble is one of the hardest at the highest level, simply because. Oh, and Jason has a death there because he actually missed the jump. Oh, that's really unlikely to happen, as Calabar right now is going to stroll like through like that last section. Needless to say that Jason actually has some of the best running on the walls from every other runner in Cuphead. And Treetop Trouble is one of his like really great ones. You can see him right now on his second try. He's like blasting through the level because if you catch up those magical cycles, you can get a really fast one. And yeah, he's like on an extremely fast pace right there. As the Calabar is down now, he's gonna pick up the charge. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Jason right now is on a pace of about 44, maybe 40. We'll see what he gets right now on this. He gets a 47. I guess he waited a little bit on cycles just to play a little bit safe, but nevertheless, it was a really great running gun section. That one death, though, will put him a little bit behind. As Caliber right now on the root pack, you'll see him using spread. This is what's gonna happen in this category. Spread when it's easy to use spread. Charge shot when it's difficult to use spread, and at the same time when there is downtime. And the EX uses is mostly gonna be charge, and whenever like there is no hurt box of a boss, you're probably gonna be using the spread EX. And then there might be some damage boost as well later on. A really nice fighter from Caliber. So he gets a 41, which is pretty insane, I have to say, for a root pack fight. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is like really. That first shot on the onion is always gonna get cancelled. So no matter what projectile you fire, even if it's like the strongest one, that will get cancelled. So that charge shot is kind of wasted, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I believe it was like found recently or something along those lines. But maybe another experienced runner might actually correct me. Now, Caliber gets really good RNG there. He will probably he goes for the damage boost to get a really, really beautiful skip there. The fastest, the super damage boost right there. Really great work from Caliber. Not only did he skip second phase, but he did like the super skip where the frog just completely goes straight to when Reby goes straight into the croaks and they turn into the slot machine. Unfortunately for Jason, not good RNG, but he's probably phase 2, I believe. As Caliber gets a really quick knockout. Damage booster to make sure that he's gonna get the skip, and he does get it, but you can see it's not like that super skip that Caliber got. He gets a really insane time on 101. What is like kind of interesting is the fact that those two runners are extremely good at the current patch, and Jason knows the strats better with the spread and charge. But at the same time, Caliber is one of the top runners in the current patch. Like he's third place. He has the third place in the all bosses category, which doesn't really necessarily use charge, but the first bosses in IO1 mostly use spread. So at the same time, you might think that charge will add something extra to the table, but at the same time, it's not that advanced tech of charge, I would say. Whereas like the later bosses will have more strats with charge, and there is when Jason is gonna utilize his advantage of charge on. And the Caliber, by the way, gets fantastic time right there on Guppy. I believe it might be like close to 33. He has a 34. Really great time, nevertheless. So, from my understanding, Caliber is not gonna pick Whetstone in all flags. It's like what I believe. The reason is because he didn't pick one extra coin from the Treetop Trouble, and this means that he's not really gonna do extra shopping, whereas Jason actually picked that extra coin. So we might see difference in routing as well, if I'm not mistaken. It probably is better not to go for Whetstone if you are not familiar with it. And Caliber hasn't put any practice with Whetstone, so he just doesn't really want to. Now, not going for Whetstone will actually give Jason a small chance to actually come back. Now, what Caliber has to do, I believe, is some insane boss fights. But at the same time, I still believe that Whetstone is gonna give Jason the edge. We'll see in the end if Caliber gets a really clean, if he gets a bunch of clean fights, I guess. No, Jason might get Whetstone Bismarck. So Caliber didn't really necessarily have the greatest Hilda Berg fight. Not the cleanest fight, but he's gonna get the job done. I believe he's gonna be close to like under 110. He might get like a little bit above. He gets the knockout, which is the most important thing. Yeah, 112 is not the greatest time that you can get on Hilda, but I'd say he messed up a little bit because he missed a couple of shots, and then he also took a hit, so he didn't go for the damage boost. So not going for that second damage boost will cost you a little bit of time. Moving on to Cagnified. Cagnified is probably one of the charge shot makes it way much easier. Now, I unfortunately missed a shot, and missing charge shots is gonna be a big time loss. Every charge shot does a quite significant amount of damage, so you want to make sure that you hit them because the charge time is quite long as well. Spread in this fight, just Spread and Fisher, which is like the weapons that you are using in the current patch, are not good weapons for this fight. The last phase, of course, is really good because you connect every shot of Spread, but you're gonna have a harder time in those first phases. Caliber gets the knockout though. Yeah, with that in mind, he's gonna move on to aisle 2 while Jason, despite that one death that he had on Treetop Trouble, he is still on a relatively good pace. The fights that he had were not that great compared to Caliber. He actually lost time compared to Caliber to, pretty much every single boss other than Hildeberg. So, if I'm not mistaken, Caliber is not gonna pick the bomb upgrade. Not the bomb upgrade, I mean Whetstone. That is my hunch. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I believe he's not gonna pick Whetstone. So if that is the case, there is a chance that he might have like a different routing than Jason, because Jason will try to utilize Whetstone in some of aisle 2 bosses, where Caliber is gonna pretty much like rush aisle 2. Really nice Barnes von Bonbon fight. The great thing about Charge is that it makes it was easy. It was relatively like it was easier, I guess, with optimization, but charge definitely makes a lot of the minion kill way better from the weapons that you have in all bosses. And wow, he gets a 44, which is ridiculous. Someone who is extremely experienced with charge shot and spread, Jason. We'll see what time he gets in Barnes von Bomba. I believe that he also RNG matters in this one, so depending on the RNG, depends like what time you get there. 12. The great thing there from Jason, he knows exactly how many shots each mini boss takes, so he has relatively fast mini boss fights. He gets the knockout really fast from both runners. And you can see a 42 from Jason. Like these times are extremely ridiculous. So yeah, both are gonna fight that Jimmy right now. Jimmy is done by Kaleva. He's on the pillar phase, slightly behind is Jason because of that unfortunate death on Treat of Trouble. Luckily for him, at least it wasn't at the end, even though Treat of Trouble is a level that is not that costly, I guess, because it's a really short level. But oh no, yeah, okay. This is the route difference. I was looking at Kaleva's screen. I wasn't paying attention to Jason. This is like the difference in routing from the two of them. Kaleva is gonna do what I said, which is rush IO2, whereas Jason is gonna do the route to actually pick Whetstone early and use it on Jimmy and Beppy. So there's gonna be a lot of difference in routing from those two because moving on, throughout the whole aisle too, they're gonna fight different bosses. They're gonna do different order, I should say, and then once they reach aisle 3, the order is gonna be restored. Really great fun for Fever, by the way, by Jason, as Kaleva gets a really great time on Jimmy. Yeah, 128 from Kaleva and 55 from. Really great times for a race, I would say. So this is like the important thing. 5 coins from Fanfare Fever. I'm not necessarily sure if Kaleva is going to pick him up. I mean, I don't think he should pick him up because he's not going to buy anything else throughout the whole run. So, he might actually do small skips, I guess, in the run gun. Jason right now is having a little bit of trouble with volley warbles because he failed to parry specific attack, but he gets another parryable attack, so he won't really have a problem getting the nuke. At the same time, Kaleva is on Beppy, and Beppy with spread and charge is relatively easier than, with Fisher and spread. He gets good RNG as well with the horse, so he's gonna get the one cycle as Jason gets to the little bird phase where he calculates when the EX is going to happen, so he gets the and does that egg attack. The last phase of Morley is pretty much the same. He gets really bad RNG because he gets then he gets that attack pattern that he pretty much gets Wally stuck on that corner. So you see he's already missing a lot of damage right there, unfortunately. Now the routing that Jason important to mention is that he's not picking up the bombs until he goes to the Jimmy fight. Now, if he had bombs, he would have actually dealt damage there in that situation. So that is the unfortunate part of that specific RNG, as he loses a little bit of the time, but at the same time, the routing makes sense to not pick up the bombs, I guess. So he valued that a little bit of time saved from routing. Different routes there, again, as I said, they're going absolutely the opposite way after Barnes von Bommon. Yeah, they're doing exactly the opposite stuff. Kaleva right now on Funhouse Fragile, as Jason is going to fight the dragon, and we're going to see a difference in the weapon choice that they have. This is the first fight that the charge lobber equipment is going to be used, because with Green Matchstick, there's a really great synergy with charge and lober. It's really difficult to actually use spread in this fight. So using one charge shot and a lober is by far really great. Really great in this fight. Yeah. As by the way, Caliber had a death on Funhouse Frazzle, which is like really unfortunate. Jason though at 1 HP on Green Matchstick, and even though it's like a better fight to do with charge and lober, it's still the last phase of Green Matchstick is scary, and he almost got hit there by that flame attack. That was really close from Jason, and he gets the knockout, really nice clutch. That death from Caliber pretty much shows something that he told me earlier today, that he thinks that the running gun levels that his running gun levels are not good. So he's really scared of how he's gonna perform in the running guns. Right now he did a really good job there on the Funhouse Frazzle, but you'll see Jason do Funhouse Frazzle and he knows the strats, so he's gonna have a really fast Funhouse Frazzle. So they are pretty much, I believe they are pretty much at the same pace right now, because both had a death on running gun that was relatively short. So I believe Jason will have a slight lead moving from aisle 2. There's still quite a lot of bosses left, so we'll see what's going to happen. Now you see Jason getting hit there. He wants those iframes so that he can actually change the gravity and stand on top of a pixel. And after he stands on top of that pixel, he can actually go through the door. That is like a really interesting glitch that happens in the Funhouse Frazzle, and there's like a really easy setup to do in that last section, where you can actually just take damage from the floor above the ceiling, I guess, not the floor, the ceiling, and actually go through the door. And you can see he's 6 seconds just from better knowledge of that running. So not knowing the strats, Caliber is not opting to switch to lober. He's sticking with spread shot, and he's only using charge shot in that fight. It's not going to be that bad. The only problem is, of course, you're not having that extra bit of damage from that lober EX, but he still gets a really great time. He got better time from Jason, so that is actually pretty good from Caliber. As right now he bought Whetstone, and he's gonna start the Whetstone action. Just one boss fight for Caliber, and he's down with aisle 2, but Jason is gonna be using the Whetstone. There is like a little chance for him to catch up and eventually take the lead with really great optimization, of course, of those fights. Now, we used to work a lot of hits and then finish the final hit with the Whetstone. I think that's what Jason is doing, but whenever he gets a chance to fire those EXs, he's gonna fire those EXs on the pillars, because the EX throw is definitely better since you do more damage to the pillars. And with that second phase is gonna be done almost doing a couple of Whetstone hits, and he's gonna move on now to the Pinocchio phase, the puppet phase, I guess. As the Caliber is having a really great time, really great fight so far on Wally Warbles. Actually, for him, one of the little birds wasn't really on the way, so he had to get out of the little birds phase, I guess. So he lost a little bit of damage right there. So that third phase was not that good from Caliber. You can see that mad Whetstone action from Jason. Fully using Whetstone right there. He's gonna do a lot of that really fast knockout. And with the bombs for Caliber, he's gonna get, with the butter RNG, he's still gonna be doing damage to the boss, where despite the fact that he got cornered. So really great fight for him as well. Now you can see the time that Jason saved on Jimmy, just because he got a 121 on Jimmy, whereas Calaba got a 128. Those 7 seconds are gonna matter, but it is really important to mention that Whetstone puts a little bit lag into the game. Every hit with Whetstone puts about 0.2 seconds of lag, so you have to take that into consideration as well. Now there is a way to get the Beppe glitch, and with the great Whetstone uses and charge shots. Unfortunately for Jason, he didn't get it, but I believe he was like close in getting it. Okay, he wasn't really that close, but I guess it's RNG dependent though. But I've seen him getting many times, and many runners as well get it. SPD Wolf as well. Luigi, I believe, got it once as well, if I'm not mistaken. So Calabar now is on the fun fair, and yeah, I actually forgot that Calabar had to do that level. He's gonna have slightly like worse time because he doesn't really know that running gun. You can see like from his movement that he doesn't really know exactly what the strats are, and at the same time Jason will finish Beppe. Pretty much they get the Bravo and the knockout at the same time, so they'll leave L2 pretty much at the same time, despite the fact that Jason had to do an extra shot. And they actually got the same time as well, but on a running gun and a boss respectively, so that's actually kind of weird, but really fun at the same time.
This match will get red hot. Now go!
So yeah, well, I believe I was muted. So yeah, Jason is now in the lead because he won now bosses. He had better running gun execution too, and he's using Whetstone as well. And no, I mean Calabar did a shop. I was about to say, I forgot about that. Calabar is only going to be using Coffee and Heart, and that is actually not the best loadout there for this category, simply because if you go do the shop, you might as well go get Whetstone in that remark, since you're gonna have way better fights. At the same time though, as I said earlier, better stick with what you know, I suppose, simply because Calabar, I know he hasn't really practiced any running guns that much, and he hasn't really practiced any Whetstone that much. He's gonna have a hard time in this category. Yeah, it is a really close race. Yeah, Rugged Race now, you can see Jason storming through that as I believe he did not put the heart. Did Calabar put the heart? No, Calabar didn't actually equip. Usually you want to like see the heart used here just for that safety, I guess. And I've seen, and Jason actually took damage there on that first lion just because it's faster to actually do something like that, I guess. Oh no, he got the Whetstone, never mind. Okay, I'm actually not paying attention. You can use Whetstone to actually parry and dash above those lions, and he's going to be doing that. It's kind of weird though, because I've seen Jason in his race against Luigi, actually, sorry, use Heart in this level. So, two different strats, and that got me a little bit confused. I apologize. As right now he's on 2 HP, he's not really gonna play super risky because those flames at the end of Rugged are weird. So you have to like make optimal dashes, I guess. He's going to damage Brazilian because he knows it's about to end. As you can see, Kaleva is now really comfortable scrolling the auto-scrolling screen. He's going to like wait for that giant to scroll in. And that's going to put him quite far behind, I'd say, because that 125 from Jason is a really good time. Kaleva is going to have about 142, I guess. I estimate on 142. So you can see that it's going to be like a slower running for him. Now this is one of those fights that Whetstone's really weird. Dr. Carl's robot. It's really difficult to use Whetstone in my opinion this fight, and you know Jason is gonna go for it nevertheless. Those risky strats, man. You're gonna use Whetstone as much as possible. He's gonna get like a really kill there as well. In his race against Luigi, he tried to do this strat, but you know he failed. But you see him actually succeeding here. He's using the machine gun, and then before he actually activates the nuke to do like that really good skip on Dr. Carl, he uses one Whetstone. He uses Whetstone to do one extra hit with Whetstone, and then at the same time he uses nuke. So that's a really great optimization there. As right now he's on 1 HP, he hasn't done bullets, so he's not really gonna use that Whetstone. He will opt not to do that. Nicely done. I believe though it wasn't really that great of a fight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't really pay attention on that. But did he actually not pick up the bombs? Because I haven't really seen him use the bombs, which is kind of weird. He probably opted not to go for the bombs, which I believe is something new, at least for me. As the Kaleva is done with this fight as well, really nicely done. No bombs, alright. Thank you for that, Island. Now, what's interesting though, you might try to do... No, I'll just let Jason do this fight, because this is like a really beautiful fight to watch with it. Yeah, sorry for that pause, but it's just like I really Jason and every runner with Whetstone, because there are a lot of runners who can actually do that. Use Whetstone that way, dancing around Werner Vermeer. So beautiful to watch, in my opinion. You can see Kaleva now having Whetstone. He's missing a couple of hits there, but you know he's still gonna get a really good time nevertheless. But you can see that with Whetstone, you can just like breeze through the bosses. So what happened was, for those who are asking what happened, Jason had better run and gun execution simply because he knows the run and gun is better than Kaleva, and at the same time Kaleva actually had a death in one of the running guns. Also, Jason has a Whetstone, so that actually puts him a little bit ahead. He can execute some of the bosses better with Whetstone. Yeah, Rugged Ridge was one of the big running guns. Jason opted to actually scroll the screen, whereas Kaleva wanted to just play it safe and wait for the giant to make it to scroll the screen, I guess. Kaleva did with Western one. Oh, he did? Oh, that's actually really impressive. I guess there was a little bit of not great execution there from Jason, apparently. If he got a 52, then apparently that was not a good execution there from Jason. As I've seen him getting a 6 with Whetstone on Venom. But talking about 40s, he gets a 43 here on Captain Briny. That's one of the things that you can see Charge and Lober can bring to the table on the Captain Briny. Okay, so apparently in the Vernon fight, both of them get a 43 in that fight, so that's actually pretty impressive. Look at everybody here. You can see how much difference that charge can bring on the counter-binding fear fight. And right now we're gonna see if the octopus escape is gonna happen, simply because that, and both of them might actually go for it. You equip that extra heart because you want to be at 4 HP to attempt the octopus escape, which is basically finishing the last part of the level without using the octopus. Now this is extremely risky. If you get hit once in the level, you're not going to go for it because you don't have the HP to do it. Jason's going to go for it. Let's see how this goes. He dashes through. He uses those invisibility frames. Nicely done there. I think Jason will actually get it, and he gets it. First try there from Jason. As Caliber got hit, so he's not going to go for it. That octopus escape saves a lot of time. 52 seconds, and you'll see Caliber actually being 1 HP. He'll probably... Oh, he tries to do a specific clip there, just for fun. You'll see that Caliber will get around 112, and with those shenanigans, I think it might be a 120 probably. So yeah, that octopus skip is actually extremely difficult to do. Luckily for Jason, he got a good RNG. It's important to mention that the RNG in that part, because when Caliber gets some death on that auto-scroller, that is gonna be really big, because that was about a minute into the running gun, so that is really, really big. Oh no. So those streams, as I said, that they spawn out of like the sea, they can be really troublesome because they can mess you up with some of the dashes and can put you a little bit behind. So you to get it in the 100% categories, it's actually kind of easier to do so because you are using super art. You are using the super art, but you know, in all flags you don't have that luxury. But Caliber is having troubles with Prelude Spears, and at the same time, Jason actually destroyed Calamaria. In the meantime, he got a 50-second Calamaria and another death. 50-second Calamaria is something that even Legacy cannot get. It really depends on Jason at this point, I would say, but you know, you can never really count Caliber out. This is Cuphead after all, you know, anything can happen. And especially if you know, we're talking about Jason, because Jason, the guy who is doing the risky strats, so you know, he will go for risky strats, and I believe he will go for risky strats in Phantom Express. So Phantom Express risky strats are really, you know, tough. Trust me. Round 3 for Caliber in the auto scorer here in Pierceless. No. Kudos though to Caliber, and I have to say that, you know, he used spread and charge extremely effectively because he had a lot of fights that were way better than Jason's in this run. But you know, those running guns definitely really put him behind, simply because, you know, he doesn't really strats. As speedrunners, you know, we like knowing the strats nevertheless. So if we are not familiar, we might have. Risky, yeah. You'll see right now, Phantom Express, how risky those strats are, because just in the first phase, he's going to be using Whetstone in the first phase, and that is like the definition of risky, trust me. Like, he's staying so close to the boss, it's just like ridiculous. He managed to go through that, so that's nice. He got hit once though. as Calamari is on Calamaria, but without Whetstone, there is no way he's gonna get time as good as Jason. But he's gonna try it nevertheless. Really nice skeleton phase there from Jason. He's gonna move on to be a twin phase, and this is like something that is extremely beautiful. Just watch how Jason knows if he gets the RNG, what he gets. He knows exactly what to do. Using 1EX because he knows that he's gonna kill that twin. I've seen that guy do this specific boss fight for 4 hours straight just to get the world record in that category in the individual level. So he knows everything about Phantom Express. So it's really nice to see that all his strats actually work out as he gets the 1 cycle as well on the train. .108, really amazing time there. As Caliber, by the way, Caliber, by the way, gets a 103, which is the best. Like, you can only get a better time in Calamaria. Like, you can see that that guy is trying to catch up, but it might be a bit too late. Question mark? You don't know exactly, you know, anything can happen in Cuphead. Yeah, Caliber is still 1.5. No, he's about 2 bosses behind. So he's more or less 2.5 minutes behind at this point. So it's kind of difficult for him to catch up. Jason, though, as I said, he's going for never guy. If everything goes well for him, you know, it's gonna be something extremely beautiful to watch. And you know, we see him right now. He's doing a fantastic job so far. I've seen him getting the knockout even faster there, but he gets a fast knockout nevertheless. Nice poker chips fight. Sunny stage play there. 3rd phase for Caliber. He gets a nothing, which is quite rare to see, I guess. But that's interesting to see that. Domino fight for Jason, and this is like fights that be a little tricky. Let's see how this goes for Jason, as he uses those EXs against some airtime to dodge the spikes. He does a really good job, so he's gonna be done with Dominoes really fast. I believe just 1 hit, yeah, and he's done. Really nice fight. He opted to play a little bit safer, not go for that part. Not go all in. You don't have to go. You're not going for IO or because you're trying to have a really fast fight, but not super risky, nevertheless. And at this point for Jason, it's like easy peasy mode. Both Magic 8 Ball is quite easy for King Dice, and the King Dice himself is really easy. Really nice strats from Caliber. It's like all boss strats, but unfortunately for him, it's not the strats that you can use with Whetstone. You can save a bunch of time. So even though he might put a really competitive time in Phantom Express, it's not going to be the same as the Jason Whetstone one. So we are slowly approaching the finale of the run. It's almost done with the skeleton phase there in Phantom Express. He barely missed that 2 cycle. I think that if he didn't really go as ham in the first phase, he would have gone in the first cycle, I should say. The King damages himself. He's going to do a couple of damage. He wants to get hit there because he wants to actually avoid those HP meters in the score screen. And he gets the knockout to get the job done. A couple of mishaps there for Caliber, but he's gonna move on to that last phase with no problem. Oh, never mind. I actually forgot that in current patch they actually fixed that. So before any Cuphead, current patch speedrunners actually come in chat and say, actually streaming that can happen. That was patched in Cuphead. The amount of HP you have in the end matters, not how many hits you take in the end in the score screen. Last boss fight there from Jason. He got a really nice dice kill, by the way, really nice fight nevertheless. The really interesting thing about Whetstone is the fact that you can actually parry the devil and use a spread EX right at the face of the devil. He has to be like on that lowest point, but you can see that first phase is going to be extremely fast. I'm not sure if you can actually get a soft lock on the current pass of the devil. I don't think you can. I don't think Cuphead can do that much damage, to be honest. But I think that Jason might have been the for that. As Caliber is exiting the map, I'm not sure exactly why. There might have been like some problems there. I'm not sure exactly what happened. We'll see. As Jason right now is on the devil, last phase of the devil, fighting devil, really easy there. And he gets the knockout on devil. GG's getting that win on race 2. You can get the soft lock, alright, good to know. Sub 1 devil as well. That must feel really nice. As he gets a loadless time of 38 minutes and 40 seconds, making it about, if I'm not mistaken, a minute slower than. So I don't know. From world record, I think it was like a minute shorter than world record. So let's see if Jason is going to join us for a quick interview before we end the stream. Caliber is still going to fight the devil. Yeah, King as well. The heat is getting into my head right now. He's on Domino fight, and we are waiting, of course, for. We're waiting, of course, for Caliber to finish the race and for potential interview from Jason. We're not sure if he's okay. He's gonna join us. When's that NA versus Cuphead race coming? I mean, Island, that most of us are European folks, so I think that is gonna be one-sided. we might organize something. Oh, there's echo because probably someone is watching the stream, Jason or Caliber.
Hello?
Hey Jason, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing alright. We just watched a really beautiful run by you.
Oh, thanks. Made a few mistakes in the beginning, but I closed out pretty strong.
GG, man. That was like really great to watch. It's always fun to watch all flags category, from someone who has really big experience in that one.
Thanks.
Really nice Whetstone uses there, I have to say. That might have been like the biggest difference between two you guys. Caliber didn't. Another one, of course, was your experience with running guns.
Right.
How do you feel overall, like in those two matches?
Well, the first match was a disaster. I played terribly. I just haven't. I don't know. I played okay on the All Flags run. I think I could have definitely done better. I had a silly death in Treetop Trouble, but I just haven't really been on my game today. I don't know what happened in Forest Falls in the first race. I just got stuck in there for like over 5 minutes. And I think even if I got through it first try, I had a couple deaths later on. I think Calibus still would have won that. So I'm sure he is getting better level times than me. But the All Flags race, I feel okay about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I got Octopus Skip, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I got a bunch of gold splits in that run, actually. So aside from a couple bad levels, I think I would have had a shot at improving my PB if I didn't die in Treetop Trouble and didn't mess up a few other stages. If I got Beppy Glitch, maybe. Would have been close.
Yeah, it was a really good run overall. Though I think from what I've seen you on in the current patch with that setup, you could have done like some fights better, as you said, but you still got a really competitive time, of course.
Yeah.
And for a race, you want to have like decent times, right? You don't necessarily have to fight to have the best times, of course.
Yeah.
In a category that is long as well and has really difficult levels, I need to say, because you add those extra running guns.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we continue, of course, the interview, I might say that Caliber right now is the devil. And talking about that first race, as you said, both of you actually had a couple of issues with the first running gun during the Pacifist. of course, it's a really difficult level to do pacifist and do it fast, because that's what is important here. You can do it someone's guess and be successful, but in your head you're like, I want to go fast, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I probably should have practiced it before the race too, but I just at the very beginning, I tried it. I played it once today, and I got it first try with like a time of 36. I thought, oh, okay, well, I'm good for the race. But then come the race time, I just I guess I didn't practice enough.
In the meantime, Caleb against the knockout on he is done now with the race. Fairly decent time, I think. He had a couple of unfortunate deaths. I think his first death was in the second running gun on Isle Funhouse Frazzle. Oh, hey Caleb, can you hear us?
Hello. GG. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, GG, Caleb.
Yeah.
GG's around.
I was about to say that all flags is probably one of the weakest categories, I guess, for you. Especially
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, considering that I currently have no like interest in learning the whetstone strats, Like I have never learned them really, and yeah, like I basically knew that Jason is going to pick this category or full clear legacy, and yeah, of course, if I would have wanted to prepare better, like I could have maybe stood a chance, but yeah, like it is what it is. It is anyways.
Hey, good game, man. You wrecked me in the first race. I think whenever you finished the race, I was still on Phantom Express, so I fell behind really, really far.
Well, yeah, like my first pick on the first race, like I knew Jason would have probably beat me if we had Olbos's legacy and one gun lobber left. So, and Jason, like, he pulled off a really solid time against Luigi, and yeah, well, I didn't want to risk it that I restarted Dr. Carl's robot like 5 times again. So
yeah,
I thought that one gun lobber would be stronger for me.
Yeah.
I said this earlier in our lobby, in the race lobby, that it looked really funny that it was one gun lobber. Really, my thought when we had one gun lobber in the category pool was no one is gonna pick it, because I remember the reaction from everyone in the weekly races was, I'm not gonna touch this category ever again. And then when I saw that we're gonna be doing one gun lobber first, I'm like, okay, everyone is scared of, they are scared of each other, so they probably banned the strong categories.
Yeah,
exactly.
Gotta shout out Xaning a little, like my Finnish speedrunner buddy, because he had this one really cool strategy for one gun lobber. Like I tried to practice it. It's something like that works on Devil, Briny Bird, and Carrot on Root Pack. It's like you don't hold the shoot button like all the time. You kind of rhythm with your jumps. Weird, but yeah.
But on Briny Beard,
Stunning
just
told me,
because
but-
whenever I hold the button, I'm just missing, shots occasionally whenever the lobber shoots too early. So that's a smart idea.
Yeah,
Well, that's nice.
that's definitely something I probably wouldn't have thought about myself. I tried to figure out something like that when this category was on weekly races, but then Xaning came through and told me that after the race, of course. Yeah, it was cool. Shout out to him.
I experimented with a new strat during the race too that I just found out when I was practicing before. I was practicing Beppy with one gun lobber, and I got the glitch like 4 or 5 times with just lobber.
Okay.
And I found out that you could, if you go to the far left or the far right of the screen, you can shoot lobbers there, and whenever Beppy crashed into the side of the screen, even if it would have done enough damage to knock him off, it doesn't. So all those lobbers hit him and do a bunch of damage there. And you could shoot him with lobber 22 times before he goes to the next phase. So you shoot him 22 times and then shoot a bunch of lobbers on the side of the screen, so when he crashes, you have a chance to do enough damage before he goes back to the other side to get the glitch. I tried it during the race and it didn't work, but it was pretty close, so I ended up killing him in like 1 EX attack on the next phase.
Oh man.
Yeah, from what I saw from the practice, it definitely requires a longer fourth cycle, to achieve that. But
Yeah, it's
You got-
tough, but
I think you were a bit like 3 or 4 shots probably away from the glitch, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. But it's definitely like a really cool strat. Like I'm pretty sure that a lot of the one gun category they have not really touched that much, except for one gun roundabout, which was a category that a lot of us liked. I think that they have like a chance to actually find some really cool strats that potentially can be used in some other categories, like for example the all flags that you get lobber, so probably there's a chance you can use it there as well to get
Yeah.
like an easier glitch maybe. I don't know.
yeah, for sure.
It's definitely something cool to see in the future. Of course, the third place match, of course, between you two is going to move on now to race 3. Unfortunately, we are not going to be doing it today. I don't know when exactly this is going to happen, and it's probably not going to happen before the finals.
What
So,
time are the finals tomorrow? I know they're tomorrow, but what time?
They're 9 a.m. Eastern time.
Oh, yeah, I
So-
wouldn't be able to
Okay, so
matter
it's
before that.
Yeah, so the
that's kind of
deciding,
bummer.
the deciding match of the third place match is going to happen after. We are still going to broadcast it, quality production, and somewhat decent commentary for me. But one thing is for sure, though, we're going to have some great action from them. And now that we are live, we might as well just say what category we're going to be doing. Usually, I like to run before the races, I guess, so you guys can decide. But the loser of this race actually picks 3 categories, and the winner picks one of the 3. So,
Yeah.
Caliva, can you choose which 3 categories you would like to see?
Do I have to do it now? I probably can, but I have to take a look at them.
All right, I guess we can wait for that, and I can determine.
Yeah,
soon, I
like,
suppose.
It's probably going to be easy for me, but I rather do it later on.
All right,
I guess.
all right. We'll
Sorry.
do it later. Yeah, it's all right, it's all right. So, yeah, GG's to both of you. It's always nice to see best of 3 going to race 3 for us. I guess it's
Yeah.
a bit
Exciting.
nervous. It's exciting and it's kind of like nerve-wracking for you as like runners, but it's definitely really exciting for the viewers. But yeah, if you guys at home liked these races, we are having the finals tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure you tune in for that. The match between Luigi and SBD Wolf, 2 of our best runners, I think, in Cuphead speedruns. They are definitely definitely the most consistent, I'd say. Together with these two guys, Jason and Caliva, they are definitely the 4 best runs that we have at this point. So yeah, any final thoughts, guys?
Just wanted to say GG again to Kaliva, and thanks for commentating as well, 2C Plus, and thanks to Mr. Dino for setting everything up. It's been a fun tournament so far, and it's kind of sad that it's going to be coming to an end this weekend, pretty much. So, I look forward to the next community event that we decide on.
Yeah, like GG's. I can't wait for the third match. Sad that it can't be before the finals. Would be better if finals were like later on, but can't happen every time when people are like.
I might be able to. I mean, I don't know if the time frame works for you or not. It's a little early for me, but I need to talk to my wife and see if we might be able to. I'll let you guys know, because if we could do something at like 8 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock a.m. If we can get it started by then, we might be able to do. We'll have to decide on the category first and see how long the category ends up being.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. For that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. And saying fun stuff in chat as well. It's always fun to see you guys having fun in chat, because this thing, of course, to enjoy the races. Despite the results, everyone's having fun. That's the most important thing. And I hope I see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, of course, once again to Mr. Dino for setting everything up.
All right, thanks again, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks again.
Bye.
See you.